It's Marcia Cork. I'm a certified change practitioner and diversity professional. For years, I've helped corporate teams and professionals navigate operational changes and improve workplace culture. Now, I create simple public speaking, communication, and change solutions that turn everyday people into confident professionals and entrepreneurs. Change is hard. Change is messy, and change is scary. I know because just a few years ago, I was in a rocky marriage, unemployed, and broke, all at the same time. Eventually, though, I had to lean in, trust my skill set, and be my own solution. I'm also a seasoned voiceover talent and the voice of many of the brands you know and trust. So I know a little something about moving from hardship to entrepreneurship and helping you reset and rebrand. I'm Marcia Cork, and I am the Change Coach.
Okay, I'm probably going to fumble through it, but I'm going to try.
That's fine. So you ready?
Ready.
Okay, 1 second. So, do you have a timer in front of you, or would you like me to use my box? So this is what I do for fun. I keep it on green as long as you still have plenty of time left. When it's time to wrap up, that's usually your last 10 seconds. And I tell you that's enough time for you to start to wrap it up and close it out. And then when you're done, I just turn it to red and that's your stop.
Okay.
Okay. So I start the timer when you start.
All right. I'm starting. Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I'm going to be speaking about applause. One instance about applause, it happens at the end of the performance, usually as a positive feedback, not oh my gosh. Positive feedback, a verbal positive. Oh my goodness. Okay, can I start over?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see, that's my problem. It's like I can't talk for a full minute. Okay. 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 All right, sorry. Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I will be talking about applauses. There are several types of applauses you will see in a performance or a speech. One is a round of applause. That's where they're just clapping joyfully. The second one is a standing ovation, where the performance was really good and well executed, standing and clapping. And the other one may be cheering or hurrah, brava. Mostly, it's a very positive feedback, verbal. Let's see. It's positive feedback when a performance or a speech is ended. We usually hold the applause at the end to not disrupt the performance. It usually stands at the end of the performance.
All right, you're done.
Yeah.
So how did that feel?
See, when I saw that on paper, I was like, she's gonna make me pick that box. Like, I hate that one because I don't have enough to say for a minute and it gets jumbled. You saw the whole thing. It just was a dumpster fire.
Well, you did. You had enough to talk about for 1 minute.
Yeah.
So now you just have to structure it better. You gave me 3 points, which is very good for something as random as applause. You didn't go too broad. It was narrow enough to get through in 1 minute. And so now you just have to clean it up. Okay. So your second attempt will be to clean it up. So tell me your 3 points that you made.
First one was the types of applause.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was, it's normally a positive feedback. I really know how to word it. Verbal. I don't know what that cue is called in public speaking. And the second
verbal
one,
cue.
And the verbal cue, there we go. And the third one is usually happens at the end of performance.
Okay, so 3 types of applause. I mean, So the three types of applause can be the three subject areas.
Okay.
Okay, so you mentioned end of the performance or speech as positive feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you mentioned the standing ovation, and what was the other one?
I think round of applause.
Yes, I did hear round of applause. Okay, so round of applause can be something that you put as content for the end of the performance or speech.
Yeah, there's another one, but it's only used in opera. I can't remember what it's called.
Okay. And then you could also say for positive feedback or, during the speech, positive reinforcement during the speech, positive reactions during the speech. And those could be your three. So you have the common applause that you hear at the end of the performance. You have a standing ovation as a form of applause. And then throughout your speech or performance, there is positive reinforcement. Do you see those as three potential subject areas?
Those are my points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so when you run through it again, you're going to say something like, "You did great with your introduction. You said it in 10 seconds or less. I'm going to talk to you today about applause. I'm going to talk to you about three types of applause, or three times you would typically see or hear applause. You might, and then you can go into your first one being, commonly you'll hear applause at the end of a performance. It might signify a job well done. One form of applause at the end of your performance or speech would be a standing ovation. Wait, did you do that? Did we say that was going to be a third point, or was that going to be supporting detail for your end of?
I think that was the second point.
Okay, so show me your 3 points. Let's look at that. I don't want to give you 3 points. You show me what you want to talk about.
Common applause. That's no matter what performance after a speech, a job well done, positive feedback. Standing ovation is if the performance was raving review, exstantial. And then the other one I thought about, it's one of the applause you do for opera. It's I can't think of the name. It's like, it's not a long applause, it's just a short 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
I guess I would put under, I guess I'll call it etiquette applause, like what you do for special occasions or special events.
Okay. What about with poetry, the finger snap?
That could be under it too, right?
Okay.
Depending on special, it wouldn't be called special events. Special instances, I guess, right?
It's a 1-minute speech. It's not a deal breaker. It's not going to hurt your credibility too bad. I would say if you can't think of it, to toss it and go with something else, or just use plain language that explains it versus trying to use a formal word. Okay, because you want to draw on information that's top of mind. You don't have time to research it. It's a 1-minute speech, so it's not a research-based speech. It's solely based on firsthand experience. Okay, so you could say another type of applause you might hear during a speech or performance, and that's to give ongoing positive feedback. This is commonly displayed in opera performances, but you might also see it in poetry with a simple finger snap. And you can say all of that in about 10 seconds, and all of that content supports intermittent applause.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so you can now write down your 3 points, or your 3 subject areas. You can write down a quick 1 to 3 words of what you want to say about that point, that subject area. But in the end, what you show me should not be a written speech. It should be an outline that says point 1, point 2, point 3, and a few supporting words.
Okay.
All right, let me see it. That's a mess. Imagine having to deliver from that. Let's try that again.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I will make it. Oh.
So this is going to be your template now for every speaking opportunity.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, let me see it. Much better. Yeah.
Do you see it already?
I see it. It goes.
Okay.
It went blurry, but I saw it in the beginning.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
like, what?
Yeah, it looks like you would actually be able to work from that. Let's see how it goes.
But see, that's like how when I told you, like my mouth can't catch up with my brain. Like this is what my brain is doing. Like it has all the thoughts, but then when it comes out, it just.
Yes, and that is not uncommon. That's why this
Okay, guys,
is
I
a
was just the only
simple
weird. Like,
construct.
have a weird one out of me.
Keep it simple. If you write too much, you'll read too much, or you'll say too much.
Okay.
I start the timer when you start.
All right. Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I'm going to be speaking about applauses. What's an applause? Applause is given at the end of a performance, mostly of a play, singing performance, or speech engagement. It's seen as a positive feedback from the general audience to the performer or the speaker. Different types of applause you'll see is just the common applause where it's just simple clapping. And then you could have a standing ovation where the performance was really good and really spoke to the audience, that they stand and maybe they may whoop, or they may be verbal with it, with their clapping, to show that the performance was well. In some instances, when there is poetry, you don't necessarily clap, you do small snaps for sound effects. And in operas, between acts, you are only doing maybe 4 short claps. It's starting to get away from it now in modern day times. And then at the end, if the performance was well, you will do.
That's your time.
Better.
Now, you see how much content you had for a 1-minute speech?
Yeah.
Did you kind of deviate from your points a little bit?
Mm-mm.
Did you end up saying more than you wanted to say about any area?
Yeah, the second one, I said a little more.
Mm-hmm. And that's what took you over your time. So the lesson there is, don't deviate. You have an outline, keep it simple. Yep. Okay. So the lesson that comes with this, and doing it for just a minute. So if we were doing it over several weeks, I would start out by doing this 1-minute exercise. And then I would apply it to a welcome address, or to an acceptance speech, or to an introduction, and give you specific windows of time, allotted time for each of those things, and have you break apart out of this 5 minutes that I'm giving you, how much of that should be dedicated to my introduction, how much of that 5 minutes should be dedicated to my conclusion, and then how much time do I have for the body of the speech, the 3 main points. And then doing the same thing you did today, 10 to 12 seconds for each point. Now I'm going to give 1 minute to each point, or a minute and a half to each point. So you keep that frame of reference in mind. And then when you feel yourself exceeding, in this case, the 10 to 12 seconds, you say, I've made my point already. It's time to move on to the next. Okay? So I'm going to have you do the same thing one more time. Same 3 points, but see if you can stick to specifically what you wanted to talk about for each point. Okay? I start when you start.
Right. Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I will be talking about applauses. What is an applause? Applause is all the masses doing a positive feedback on a performer, a singer, or a speaker. There are several types of applause. There's normally the common applause. That's where you're sitting down and you are clapping. Could be a long length of time. There's no time limit. And then there's standing ovation. That's where the performance was really good, that people are standing, clapping. Some are making verbal noises such as woo or brava or bravo. Several instances where an applause can differ is during poetry. You don't necessarily clap. You snap when a point speaks to you, or at the end of the poetry performance. Or in the opera, you do 4 short claps in between acts and before intermission. And at the end of the opera, you can also do a standing ovation or brava. So thank you for listening to me talk about applause, and have a great day.
Excellent. So you hear the timer going off, but you only went over by like 1 or 2 seconds.
Yay.
Yeah. So this is how you transfer this technique to your slide presentations, the presentations that you do for work, by identifying what are the main points, what are the key features, the key highlights, the key findings. I'm going to talk about those 3, or I'm going to talk about those 5. I'm still going to have the information handy if they want to see a broader slide, or specific features, specific percentages, things like that. That can be something you provide at the end of your presentation when you open up the floor for more discussion or to answer more questions. If they want any information that's outside of the key findings that you've reported. But now your presentation is done. So you see how you can be a lot more conversational and informal after your presentation, but you can still provide the nuts and bolts. You can engage, you can have all of that interaction without having to turn back to look at your slide or having to rely on a lot of notes, because now you're just going to work from specific points, specific note cards. You can read from your note cards, look up, because you're going to ad lib most of it, just like what you did today. Okay? All right. So now we're going to, like I said, do that's these stackable techniques. So I want to have you stand up. I want to see what you look like presenting. And we're going to work on your proud stance. I want to see how you look. Your camera went a little bit dark because it's trying to readjust.
Let's see.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, so now I want you to fall into a comfortable position that looks professional, that looks like Kristen, and the way that you would stand for at least a minute. You want to be able to hold that position for at least a minute. Okay, and are you typically holding note cards or a laser, what do you call I'm drawing a blank, the pointer? Yeah, are you typically holding anything when you present?
I usually don't, but if anything, I'll hold a note card.
Okay, so you can practice holding a note card. Sometimes if you're advancing the slides with one of those remotes, you might want to practice, holding an ink pen or holding a TV remote or something like that, so you can get the feel of, doing the same thing, but holding a remote or pen of some sort.
Okay.
Okay, so hold that position. Do you feel comfortable?
Yes.
Do you feel like you could hold that position for a full minute?
No, I gotta adjust. So now I'm better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to have you do the ABC exercise. Did you see what the ABC exercise looked like in advance?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll repeat it just so you're not jumping right in. But basically, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to introduce yourself. You're going to tell me what you're going to do, which is recite the alphabet. You can explain that in any way. And you're going to deliver the alphabet. So total, this should take not even 30 seconds, but basically 30 seconds, give or take, based on how you deliver it. But I don't want you to sing it. I want you to make it sound conversational. So you're going to speak the alphabet and basically treat it like a speech. Okay? All right.
Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I'm going to be talking you through the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. I know I missed some letters.
Nope, you hit them all.
Okay, I'm like, that was sound.
You hit them all. And that was good. Okay, so now do that again, but be sure to close it out this time. Always close out with thanks or next steps. Email me, call me, visit my website, something like that to close it out and leave with some type of call of action.
Okay. Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I'm going to be talking you through the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. You can email me at the link below if you have any further questions, and thank you for your time.
Perfect. Okay. So to hear you deliver that, it sounds like your natural voice. So I can already hear a natural cadence in the way that you speak. You had much more personality delivering it that second time around. Something about doing it the first time, then laughing when you thought you forgot the letters, and then jumping back in. You sounded like yourself. That was more of a, yes, I'm professional, but this is also the real Kristen that you're getting. Do you know what I mean? That authenticity. And that's what I want you to work for. Just because you're being professional, just because you're delivering a speech doesn't mean it has to sound formal. And like I always say, research driven. So when people do a lot of the box talk exercises, they try to give me a thesis or something. I'm like, you're talking about ketchup right now. Like, how professional do you have to be talking about, or how formal do you have to be talking about ketchup? You're always going to be professional. You're always going to be credible, but it doesn't have to be stuffy. So that's what that looked like. Some things that I did notice, you smacked your hand with the cards.
I do?
I did see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And those things are fine as long as they aren't a distraction. So if you do it once, it's common. But if you do it, it's a way of me seeing that you're nervous. That's when you don't even notice that you're doing it, and it'll be constant.
I didn't know I was doing it. I was focused on getting all the letters right.
Yeah. So even the way that you did that, I think is fine. So it's not uncommon for us when we're telling a story, when we are speaking, whether we're reading from something or speaking off the cuff. What we do is we look to the sky because it's like we're fetching information. And you're kind of questioning yourself as you do it. So all those things to me are normal things that one would expect or an audience would expect out of a conversation. And to see you do it, it actually humanizes you. People are more uncomfortable when you're trying to be overly formal because they match your mood, they match your delivery. So if you're being very formal, then they're going to try to be formal as well. So every time that you humanize it, every time that you show your real personality, makes them more comfortable and at ease too. People reflect the mood that you put out. So when you're presenting, you have to decide what's the tone for this speech. So based on the topic, based on the conversation we're having today, what's the tone? And then you set the tone. Okay. So I like what you did. So let's do it again.
Hello, my name is Kristen Rice, and I'm going to be talking you through the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. You can email me at the link below if you have any further questions. And thank you for listening to me talking to the alphabet.
Good. How do you feel doing this?
I feel good. Like now that you mentioned the ticket, I know I did it once and then I did kind of look up because I was like, wait, I don't know why I get at that point of the alphabet, I get a little confused. Like, wait, did I skip some letters?
And you can say that.
Comfortable. I think I know with me, doing it once is harder, but I know with training and practice, I can get better at it. But that's when, like, I never understood when people say they practice for their speech. Like, how am I supposed to practice for a speech? I guess besides knowing what you're supposed to say, but also like you're saying delivery and your cues and looking in the mirror, things like that.
Absolutely. And not deviating from your points. That's where people trip up. If people start to run out of time or they start to ramble, it's because they've started to deviate from their points. So where they were prepared, now this new information, they're not prepared. And that's when they get off track. They'll lose the point, they'll fumble trying to get back to the point, or they'll just talk too much and never really get back to their point.
Yeah, that's me sometimes.
It's most people, even people that say that they're comfortable speaking. When they say that they're comfortable speaking, it just means they don't care about other people's opinions or judgment, that they don't care if they mess up, they're just fine, but it doesn't mean that they gave a good speech. It doesn't mean that they delivered it well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
So they'll walk away feeling fine, but you'll walk away like this was supposed to be 10 minutes and it took 30.
Yeah, that's what I don't want.
Yeah. All right. So this is an exercise that you can do several times a day. You can record yourself. You can do it in front of the mirror. But this is also how you can prepare for your presentations. So actually, that's a question that I should have asked as well. How often or how long do you usually practice going through your presentation prior to actually delivering it?
I think maybe twice.
You do a full run through. So if you have a 20-minute presentation, do you actually take your time yourself to see if you're delivering it in 20 minutes, do a run through. So where you've done it now 2 or 3 times and you seem to get through it in roughly 20 minutes, sometimes 18 minutes, sometimes 21 minutes, but roughly 20 minutes. Do you ever do that?
I do not time myself. I just make sure, okay, do I know what I'm talking about so I don't sound like I'm crazy?
Okay. So that's what you should start doing as well. Actually do a run through. So when I'm speaking, and my kids know this about me, in the beginning it was unusual, but now they're completely used to it. I will be standing in the middle of the floor talking to the air, and I'm doing my entire speech. So if it takes an hour, then they're watching, they might be going into the kitchen and up the stairs, but I'm sitting there talking to a wall as if it were my audience, and I'm going to do it for that entire hour. So the more you do it, the less awkward you will feel doing it. And when you get to the point where you don't mind who walks by, you are in your zone. You're finding just how comfortable you are, delivering your speech. You are fine with how you sound. And now you're actually working towards perfection at that point. That's the level of confidence that you get with preparation. When you know your content. You know that you can deliver it in a specific amount of time. You're not going to deviate from your points. You're going to get through it in the time allotted. That's a good speech. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so let's leave this last few minutes for any specific questions you have, any other ways that you can apply the technique, just any questions that you have. Let's see if we can pinpoint anything.
So when you talk about deviations in the speech, and I mentioned that I had a whole speech prepared, but I'm doing my spiel, and then there's a question in the middle of it, and it breaks my concentration.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I'm focusing on answering that question now, and I forget where we stopped at, or I usually don't repeat a statement, but I say as a recap, this is this. Let's move on, and then keep going towards my spiel.
Okay.
So I guess is when I'm practicing, do I need to account for deviations like that, or it kind of just keeps, again, stay focused, keep it simple, answer the questions, and bring it back?
Okay. So what I heard you say is it throws you off. So if you already know about yourself that it throws you off, then we're not going to accept questions during the speech. That's it. You control the conversation. You're the speaker. So what you do is at the start of your speech, during your introduction, you, as I say, when you give the introduction, you're given a preview, just like I had you do in the ABC exercise. You're going to give a preview. You're going to give an overview of everything that you're going to discuss. So that lets people know in advance the points, the topics, the agenda, the run through. So they already know what to expect. And during that time, you'll say, and I'll take questions at the end. So you can let them know, we're going to go through the speech, we're going to go through the presentation, and then I'll take questions at the end. Or you can set it up where you can take questions at the end of every subject area. So that way you can at least address the question while it's still on topic, versus having people wait to the end, because now they may forget their point if they don't write it down. You might forget and you might circle back. And then at the end, they'll be left unfulfilled because you never addressed their question. So there's a couple of ways that you can handle it, but you do that in advance. So in your introduction, when you're given the preview, you can set the tone for, how you're going to take questions. Take them at the end or take them at the end of every subject area. Okay. And if you see them raise their hand, you can do a technique that I call hedging. If they raise their hand, but you are not taking questions, then you look them in the eye, you let them know that you see them, that you address them, and you just hold that thought. And then at the end,
for people that don't hold that thought,
keep going. Put your hand up again. Hold that thought. And then, or you can say, I promise I'm going to come back to you.
Okay,
I see you. I see you. I promise I'm going to come back to you. But you keep going so that you don't lose your point. You don't lose your train of thought.
Okay.
And you can say it with a smile. It doesn't have to be abrupt, like you're not doing it like this. Just, I'm talking. I see you. I'm going to come right back to you. And then come back to them.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So do you feel that this was enough preparation that we can repeat it live?
Oh, Lord. Yes, I think we can.
Yeah, I think so. You did great. Right. Would you be willing to let people see you do it live? Would you be willing to invite a few people?
I like how you said that, then you did your tea. You're like, the answer's yes. Like, you really don't got a choice. No, I'm fine with it, because I'm sure. Yeah, I'm fine. The only one I have an issue with, we're doing the first try of the box method, that was a dumpster fire. And I don't want people to see me doing dumpster fire.
But that's the point. Once you get to the point where you can do it in front of the people whose opinions you care about, you've got it. And they are shaking in their boots watching you. So to see you get through it, they're cheering for you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All right. So imagine, I do this for students. I do this in a classroom. Everybody does it for the first time the same way. They're all hoping they're not called on first, but but everybody does it. Everybody gets through it. And at the end, if I was doing this for class, then it would be over several weeks. Like I said, I'd give several different examples from introductions, welcome addresses, commencement, all types of different examples.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all built on the same technique. So at the end, you'll be able to deliver anything. You'll be able to talk about anything. If some people say, shoelaces, you'll be at the point where you're like, ask me anything, because you can talk about it, because you're just drawing on real experience. Mm-hmm. Where you'll go wrong is trying to say, well, in 1925, shoelaces were created by blah, blah, blah. When you start really trying to get formal information, that's where you go wrong. But if you just keep it to some of my shoes have shoelaces, some don't. Some have Velcro, some have fun strings, some have plain white strings. If you keep it simple like that, you can talk about anything for a minute. Mm-hmm. And then you can take questions for a minute, because you'll know how to form or respond to questions in a way that feels like you answered the question just because you stayed on topic. That's like a political technique. So that's more, advanced. That's when we get to message framing and all that. But all of it is built around the same back talk.